Hi everyone, it's Jess from the Knit Knack Shop. Today's video is going to be about how to make a slip knot. And the reason that you need to know how to do this is because it basically starts every either knitting or crocheting project that you have to do. So it's actually pretty important to know how to do it, otherwise you're not going to be able to actually start your stitches. So I am right-handed, my ball of yarn is always on my left, and then my tail of yarn is always on my right side. So when I start a slip knot, I usually leave about usually 4 to 5 inches of tail. And the tail is just kind of there for the end of the project when you weave in, just in case you make a mistake, usually if you can go back in and fix it. So there's usually about 5 inches or so on this side. And then this side is called the working yarn, and this is the yarn that is still attached to the ball. So I'm going to lay this down to show you how to do the slip knot first, and then I'll hold it to show you how I actually manipulate it with my fingers. So starting off, we have the 4 to 5 inches of tail on this side and the working yarn on this side. I take my tail, I fold it on top of the working yarn to form a loop. So coming down is the working yarn, coming to the left is the tail. So that's the first step. The second step is you hold the part where the working yarn and tail meet. So you kind of pinch it. You take the loop, you fold it down and on top of the working yarn. So this is the working yarn in this loop. You pull it up and through to form the big loop. Now you don't really want the loop this big, so you take your crochet hook, insert it, grab your working yarn, which again is the longer piece of yarn that attaches to the ball, and you pull, and that shrinks the loop. Now you don't want this to be too tight, because if it is too tight, it's going to be very hard to start your first stitch. So try to keep it so that it can move around a little bit, but isn't too loose to the point where it can kind of come off the hook. So let me do the slip knot one more time, and this time I'll hold it so you can see what it looks like. So I have my tail on this side, I have my working yarn right there. I take the end, flip it on top of the working yarn. So I'm folding it over itself. I'm creating a loop. I take the loop, I bring it down to cover the working yarn, like that. I grab the working yarn and I pull it through the loop, and that creates the bigger loop, which I then make smaller by pulling on the working yarn, like that. So one thing that I just want to show you quickly, because this is what I used to do when I first started and I got very frustrated. I sometimes would forget to put the tail on top of the working yarn, and I sometimes would put it behind. So if you put it behind and then try to do what I just did, it just falls apart. So that was very frustrating for me. So that's why I'm like a broken record and I keep saying put the tail over the working yarn and then flip it down, pull it through to make your knot. That's the way that I do the slip knot. There are definitely other ways to do it. I've just found that this one is the easiest for me and it's more comfortable. But if you're trying and you're seeing that it really doesn't work for you, let me know in the comments and I will film a tutorial on the other methods of creating a slip knot. I hope that was helpful. Enjoy. Thanks for watching.